Hi, this is Dr. Swapna and I welcome you to your Learn Lab. If you are an IGNOU student looking for help in your studies, then you have reached the right place. Here, we have lecture videos on different core and elective subjects of important IGNOU courses. We aim to help you ace your exams. So hit subscribe to our channel and as you watch, make sure to like and share too. Come and join me on this beautiful learning journey. So today we are going to do Unit 8, Methods of Data Collection, Quantitative and Qualitative of Block 4, which is Methods of Data Collection. From this topic, we'll be looking at the topic Qualitative Methods of Data Collection in this video. Let's see what are we going to study. So we'll be studying the different types of techniques used for data collection in qualitative research method, and that would include projective techniques, observation method, case study method, ethnography, grounded theory, discourse analysis, diary writing and narrative methods. Finally, we'll have interview and some previous year questions. So let's start with the qualitative method of data collection. Let's quickly look what it is. So these are techniques used to collect textual or non-numerical data for research and analysis. So qualitative data, right? So qualitative methods of data collection would be used for collecting qualitative data. And qualitative data is what? These would be textual or non-numerical, which means no numbers, right? So these methods are used when the researcher needs to collect information related to knowledge, issues, relationships, cultural practices, and any related aspects of the society and individuals, right? Where statistical analysis is not involved. And the different methods that come under qualitative methods of data collection are projective techniques, observation method, case study method, ethnography, grounded theory, discourse analysis, diary writing and narrative methods, and finally interview. All right. So we first start with projective techniques. So projective techniques are indirect, unstructured methods of investigation where, the researcher tries to uncover the hidden or subconscious thoughts and feelings of the patient or the participant. Instead of directly asking them about their opinions on a subject or an incident, these techniques present ambiguous stimuli like pictures or incomplete sentences and ask them to finish the sentences or complete the picture. And the way they do this completion of the sentences or making up the pictures help the researcher to interpret their subconscious, right? It helps them to gather more insights into the underlying attitudes and beliefs that might not be revealed when you are directly questioning them. Okay, so this technique uses projection or responses of participants to find out the underlying motives, beliefs, and urges. And this is used to analyze personality of individuals. Now, under projective techniques, there are certain tools that we use. Some of them are word association test. Here, the participant is given a list of words, and he or she has to respond to another word for each of the words given in the list. Like if you have watched the movie, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, you will see the protagonist playing the same game, the word association test, to find out what's going on inside the other person's head, right? So here, suppose you are given a word and you are asked to tell the first word that comes to your mind. Like maybe you're asked statistics, and then maybe you will be saying something like numbers, or maybe psychology, you will be saying another word, maybe psychiatrist or something, right? So that's word association test. All right. Then we have completion test. In this technique, the respondents are asked to complete sentences or stories. Okay, so they will be given incomplete sentences and incomplete stories. And how are they going to finish the sentences and the stories tells about their motives and beliefs or their mental state at that point of time. All right. Then we have construction techniques. Here the participants are given some pictures and they are expected to make story out of it. Okay, so they could either make a good story with a positive ending or something with a negative ending. The kind of story they create tells a lot about their mental state. Then we have expression techniques. Here participants are asked to provide his or her attitude for each people, what they think about a particular person, right? This also tells about what kind of personality they have. All right. Secondly, we have observation methods. So this is pretty simple, right? Here the researcher is simply observing the participant. Okay, so this is a method of gathering data by systematically watching and recording behaviors, events, or characteristics of the participant in their natural setting. This is the biggest advantage of this method because the study is happening in the natural setting of the participant. All right. This is the method used to obtain first-hand insights into phenomena through direct observation and detailed descriptions. Okay. So observation method could be done in two ways. First is the participant observation, where the researcher becomes a participant of the phenomena or the event that is being studied. Second is non-participant observation, where the researcher is not going to be a participant but simply a bystander or someone who's watching the things unfold, right? So the first participant observation, the researchers actively engage in the activities of the group under observation. So they can potentially, so this is the demerit that if the participants know that this person who is taking part in this activity is actually a researcher and studying everything that we are doing, so this can potentially influence their behavior. Okay, so to overcome this, the researcher can maybe not tell the people, right, hide his identity and simply observe and go, because they want as authentic information as possible about the event without disclosing or influencing the behavior of the participants, right? And secondly, we have non-participant observation, where the researcher observes from a distance without actively participating. Now, this minimizes the potential of influencing the participants' behavior, but the downside is that when the researcher is a part of the event, they'll get more insight into what's happening, like how they are feeling when that particular thing is happening. It helps them to understand the other person's other person's side also. But when you are non-participant, you are just seeing what is happening. You are not getting a first-hand experience, right? Even though the researcher is not influencing the participant's behavior, the kind of insight that they would be gathering would be a little less than what they would have got if they were actively participating in the observation, right? So yeah, that's observation method. Next we have case study method. So here what is happening is that in the case study method of qualitative data collection, the researcher is deeply examining a single case, like a single person or a single group or a single event, to understand its unique characteristics and context surrounding it. Okay, so here this is a research approach that examines a specific phenomena in its real world context, using in-depth investigation and multiple data sources to provide a rich and nuanced understanding. Okay, so your highlight is that they would be studying a single specific phenomena, right, using in-depth investigation and multiple data sources. And it provides what? A rich and nuanced understanding of the phenomena that is under study. It allows the researcher to go deeper than the surface level and gain contextualized understanding of the phenomena being studied. Okay, so case study, since you are studying a single case in deep, so it helps you to go beyond the surface level and gain more deeper understanding. All right. So case study is of four main types. Okay, we'll see them one by one. The first one is illustrative case study. Now, illustration means what? You are giving examples, or maybe you are illustrating the concept that you are trying to learn, study, or teach, right? So this is a descriptive study that uses a specific example to explain or clarify a particular concept or situation. Alright, so this serves primarily to make the topic familiar and to give readers a common language about the topic in question. Which means here what is going to happen is that the researcher is going to study the case in depth by using a specific example to explain what exactly the whole study is about. So this gives everyone who's participating in the study a common language or a common understanding about what the study is all about. All right. Secondly, we have exploratory or pilot case study. Now, here, this is a preliminary investigation used to gain an initial understanding of a phenomena or refine a research question or test the feasibility of a larger study. So, pilot study means this is a small scale study that is conducted before the actual large scale study so that you know what all can go wrong or how the research methodology can be improved, what kind of errors can be expected, right? So this is kind of an exploratory study where you are exploring the method that you are going to finally use for your study. So, okay, that's why this is a preliminary investigation and used to gain an initial understanding of a phenomena or refine a research question, how you can make it better, or test the feasibility of a larger study. Like if I'm going to conduct a larger study, would it be feasible or not? Right? So this is useful when there is limited prior research or a research design needs to be improved. Right? So yeah, if there has no research, similar research been done before, or if you think the research design needs to be improved, in such cases, exploratory or pilot case study can be used. But here the disadvantage is that the initial findings of the pilot study may seem so convincing that the researcher can release that as premature conclusions. Right? They may feel that, okay, I've done the pilot study and I've got the result. Why to waste all this time doing the large case study when I'm already getting the result that I'm expecting? Right? So, because of this is the researcher can end up publishing wrong results. Okay? So, that is the disadvantage of the exploratory or pilot case study. Then we have cumulative case study. Now, here what happens is that there's a research approach that aggregates findings from multiple individual case studies to build a broader understanding of the phenomena. So suppose you are going to study about COVID. Okay, so what you would do is you will go and check on every other study that has been conducted on COVID, and you are going to collect all of that and bring it together or make it a cumulative case study, which means you are aggregating all the previous studies that has happened on that topic and then doing your own case study without actually doing the study yourself. You are just using the research that has been done by others and bringing it all together. Okay, so it involves collecting data from various sites or time points and then using this information to identify patterns, trends, or generalizations. Okay, so this allows the research to happen without additional cost or time being invested on new or possibly repetitive studies, right? So a lot of people would have already done the study on COVID. So you don't have to waste your time and resources to do it all over again. Instead, you can just collect all that study and then present a cumulative study finding of your own from all those data, right? So that's cumulative case study. Then we have critical instance case study. Now, what does this mean? Critical instance case study focuses on a single specific event or situation to understand its unique characteristics and implication, often challenging or refining existing theories. Okay, so here again, typical to case study, the focus is on a single specific event or situation, right? And why? To understand how is it unique? What are the unique characteristics or what are the unique outcomes? And so this often challenge or maybe improve upon the existing theories on the same topic. All right. This type of study is less concerned about generalizability and more about in-depth analysis of critical moment. So here what happens is that maybe a particular political situation has happened. So critical instance case study would be where somebody is trying to understand why this happened.
right? Why this happened, how this happened, what are the outcomes, not about generalizability. Okay, not to extend anything to future or maybe other populations, right? So this is useful for examining cause and effect relationships, exploring unique perspectives, and developing new theoretical propositions. Okay, so this kind of study is used to find out why something has happened or what has caused that event, right? And exploring the new perspectives or new way of looking at a already existing problem or maybe an event that has already happened. And this also helps in developing new theoretical propositions. All right, so that is critical instance case study. So let's see what are the different ways we can use a case study, right? So writing analysis of case study. A case study that has already happened, okay? We are going to study how we can use a case study that has already been conducted. So here, writing a detailed analysis helps in better understanding. Case studies can be used as assignments along with related readings and references in colleges and universities or at other educational institutions, right? So as a teacher or as a guide, you can provide these case studies to the students and ask them to study in, write in detail, analyze in detail and write about it, right? This would help them in understanding the phenomena more clearly, right? And panel of experts. So instead of group discussion, students can listen to a panel of experts discuss the case. This is useful especially when introducing the case method. A variation is to let the group analyze the case first and then hear the expert's opinion, right? So case study can also be used by allowing a panel of experts to talk to the students about that particular case, right? So this helps to introduce them to the whole thing, right, without actually having to go through it or have actually taking that study or analyzing that study. Or another variation to the same thing is to let the students analyze the let the students analyze the case first and then hear what the panel of experts think about it. All right. The next use case of a case study is analysis of similar case studies, which means a group member can share similar experiences from their own lives that relate to the case. This helps in making connections and drawing broader lessons, which means if there is a group conducting a similar study, then if any of them had a similar experience or something they have heard about it or someone they know who have experienced it, they can use that as a case to study and understand the whole phenomena, right? So this helps them to make connections and drawing broader lessons from the event. All right. Finally, we have cross-examination. Here, group members prepare questions in advance and challenge each other's views based on case data. This method works well when the case has lots of details and helps in deeper thinking and analysis. So here what happens is that everyone would be studying the case. Everybody would be analyzing the case study and then they'll be debating on it, right? The group members can prepare questions in advance and challenge each other's view, basically debating on it. So when such kind of discussion or a debate happens, everybody gets much more better understanding on the whole topic and perspectives of other people, right, or the other team members, what they think about it or what they understood from it, right? So these are the methods of how we can use a case study, right? Moving forward, we have ethnography. So ethnography is also called ethnomethodology or methodology of people, right? Here, researchers immerse themselves in a particular social or cultural group to understand their behaviors, interaction, and perspective through observation and method. Here, it's not an event, it's not a phenomena. Here, people are being studied, okay? That's why this is different from observation. In observation, in participant observation method also, the researcher is actively engaging in it, right? But that could be an event, that could be a phenomena, that could be anything, right? Could be people also. But here, it's specifically, we are studying the people, okay? So what happens is that it's a qualitative research method where researchers immerse themselves in a community to gather rich or in-depth information about how people live, interact, and think. All right, it aims to provide a rich, detailed understanding of a culture or a group by observing their natural settings and engaging with them over an extended period. Okay, so that is ethnography, where the researcher is actively participating and observing a group of people in their everyday lives to understand their culture and behavior. Then we have grounded theory. Grounded theory is a research approach that aims to develop a theory grounded in data, which means the data is collected first, and then based on the collected data, analysis is conducted and a theory is arrived upon. All right. So a theory grounded in data which is systematically collected and analyzed during the research process. Now, unlike traditional research that starts with a hypothesis, grounded theory builds theory from the data itself. Okay, so generally what happens is that you have a hypothesis, you have a question statement, and then based on that you collect the data. Here there is no actual basis. The data is first collected randomly, and then based on the data collected, a theory is generated after analyzing it. Okay, so here data collection and analysis happen simultaneously. Researchers collect data, analyze it, and then use those analyses to perform further data collection. Okay, as and when the data is collected, analysis is also happening simultaneously, and based on the analysis it's decided whether any further data needs to be collected or not. Here now data is continuously compared with emerging categories and concepts to refine the theory. Okay, after a theory is proposed, the data can be further collected and it's continuously compared with emerging categories and concepts to better the theory that has been formulated in the first go, right? Grounded theory is particularly useful for exploring complex social processes and interactions, developing new theories about phenomena that are not well understood, and gaining in-depth insights into participants' experiences and perspectives. All right, so that is grounded theory. Next, let's see what is discourse analysis, right? So discourse analysis and qualitative data collection examines how language is used to create meaning and shape social realities within specific context. Okay, so here in discourse analysis, the researcher would be studying how language is used for expressing certain things, like what kind of words are being used, what kind of idioms are being used, or what kind of jokes are being cracked, right? It explores how language is used to create, negotiate, and convey meaning, right? The researcher analyzes patterns in language use such as word choices, metaphors, rhetorical devices, and conversational structures, or in what way conversation is happening, to uncover underlying assumptions and ideologies, right? So here rhetoric means the art of writing or speaking something very clearly. So rhetoric devices are those which will help the researcher to convey something very clearly, right? So the researcher would be studying how people are, conveying things using language, right? What are the different tools of language and how are they using it to convey meaning? That is discourse analysis. And then we have diary writing and narrative methods. This is pretty simple to understand, right? Diary writing, I think all of us must have done this at one point or the other. Okay, so in case you haven't, you should try because it helps a lot. So diary writing is one of the techniques by which the participants record daily activities. Okay, data through these diaries are collected with the help of longitudinal technique. Now, what is longitudinal technique? It's a technique in which the responses and daily entries of participants are studied over a long period of time. And do you know one of the famous diaries that was written during the World War II? Anne Frank's diary, right? It's a very good read. You must try once. Okay. The diary writing method are also known as experience sampling or ecological momentary assessment or EMA, as it provides the details of contextual information. And narratives refers to written or spoken words which are coded to extract required data and information from them. You know what is narration, right? You're explaining something or narrating something or describing something, right? So this could be spoken or written words, and these are then coded to find out the data that is required and get the information from them. All right. So this is diary writing and narrative methods. Then finally we have interview. So what is interview? It is a face-to-face interaction which helps in providing more honest answers and responses from the sample or the participant. Now, as the interviewer, the one who is interviewing, that is the researcher, works directly with the respondent or the interviewee or the participant, the one who is answering or one who is being interviewed. All right. So unlike questionnaire, so in questionnaire what you do is you will be providing them with questions and they have to answer your questions. It could be written, mostly written. Questionnaires are all paper form. Okay. So here the interviewer has an opportunity to ask follow-up questions. So in questionnaires what happens is that it is very structured. You might have 10 questions and the participant answers those questions and then you analyze those answers. If you have any doubt or if you want to follow up with another question, it's not possible, it's difficult, right? Because they have answered the question and they have gone. But in interview, you have an option where if you, after hearing a particular response, if you want a follow-up question to ask, you can do that, right? And they are best suitable method for those questions which require opinions or impressions from the respondents, where you want detailed, analysis or detailed opinion or impression of the participant. All right. Now, types of interview. We have structured interview and non-structured interview, right? So what is a structured interview? Here, the questions that are to be asked from the respondents are prepared and pre-planned in advance by the researcher. So I might have prepared 10 questions which I want to ask. Now, I have already planned these 10 questions and I cannot change. So change is not allowed, right? It's not flexible. It's very inflexible method. Okay. So the researcher imposes those prepared questions on the respondents serially and notes down the answers given by them. So I'll be asking the questions in exactly the same order in which I have prepared it. And then I'll be noting the answers that the participant has given. Okay. Now, there is minimum flexibility in this method. Okay, so if you have any doubt on any of the answers provided by the respondent, you cannot ask any follow-up question. You have to stick to the plan or the questions that you have prepared or that has been given to you. Okay, so that is structured interview. Then unstructured interview. Here, interviews are said to be unstructured when the researcher conducts an interaction with the respondent in an informal atmosphere. So here nothing is planned. Okay, no set of questions already prepared. It's happening in an informal atmosphere. So here nothing is pre-planned in advance. The response of the sample gives a clue to the researcher to ask the next question. Okay, so most of the interviews, job interviews or viva happen this way. There would be first question that the interviewer asks, and based on your response, the interviewer decides what the next question should be. Okay, so if you are smart, you know where to take the interviewer or what to answer and how to answer in a way the interviewer will ask you exactly the question that you want them to ask. Okay, now that's next level of understanding. I'm sure by the end of the course you will reach there. Okay. Next we have telephonic interview. So as the name suggests, here the interview is not happening face to face. It's through a telephone. So the researcher may call the subject or sample through telephone and ask them questions to collect data. This saves time and money, but the downside is that not many people would, encourage that. Not many people would accept that questioning, right? So the moment I take a call, and if I am hearing something that, maybe a telecaller or someone who wants to know, or, gaining data, or maybe any sample sales related questionnaire or interview should be it, I'll be like, okay, cut the call, I don't have time for this, right? So yeah, this is possible only if you know the person personally, or if you have consent from them, prior consent from them for this interview. Okay, but the sample here gets limited to only that part of the population who have the facility of telephones at their residences or offices. That is also another downside. The person or the participant should have telephone and proper network. Also, they should be free and willing to give you a telephonic interview. All right, so that was all about qualitative methods of data collection. Let's look at previous year questions. See, not many previous year questions. We had in June 2024, 10 marks question, discuss the qualitative methods of data collection. Before that, we had June 2023, explain qualitative methods of data collection for 10 marks. Okay, so yeah, that was all about this topic from this unit on data collection by qualitative and quantitative methods.
Thank you all for learning with me. If you found the video helpful, make sure you let me know by hitting the like button. Make sure you share the video with your friends too. Subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the new videos. You can reach me by simply dropping a comment. See you in the next one. Till then, happy learning.